For over 30 years, 10 bodies, 3 initials which struck terror in the heartlands of America.
B stands for bind, T stands for torture, and K stands for kill. Bind, torture, kill.
A serial killer so deadly, even the police feared where he would strike next.
I was terrified that this guy was maybe going to come after my family.
BTK craved attention and used his letter to taunt the police. He dared them to catch him before he struck again.
When this monster enters my brain, I will never know. Maybe you can stop him. I can't. He has already chosen his next victim. The code words for me will be bind them, torture them, kill them. BTK. They will be on the next victim.
He's a psychopath, and a psychopath is a very manipulative individual. He's an individual who manages to compartmentalize. In other words, he can separate out what's taking place from his involvement. He had what he called a hit kit. He brought his own materials.
Rope and duct tape to bind the victim, and a gun to force them into submission. The killer asks if a computer floppy disk can be traced back to the computer which authored it. If police promised it couldn't, he'd send future messages that way.
He felt himself in such a powerful position, and the police were so dependent upon him for information that they couldn't possibly lie to him.
But police weren't playing by BTK's rules. They set a trap using a newspaper advert.
He wants us to answer in code. He says, Rex, it will be okay. The chances of him falling for that, you know, we didn't think that was a possibility. I don't think anyone could ever believe that we were that lucky.
BTK had made a fatal error. The disk he sent was rushed to the forensics team. Could such a simple trap have finally snared BTK?
Microsoft embeds in many of its documents something called metadata, and that metadata is information about the file. You can access that by going to File, Properties. And as you can see here, the software that was registered to Christ Lutheran Church.
This church is just north of Wichita. But how could it possibly be linked to a serial killer?
In addition to that, we can see that the document was last saved by a person named Dennis.
After 31 years, a name. What happened next was so quick, so simple. It's hard to believe.
We came up with a website for Christ Lutheran Church in Wichita. And on that home page, there's a link to people who are related to the church. So when we click on that link, it brings up the page that has President of the congregation was Dennis Rader.
His sentence was the toughest the judge could impose. Consecutive life sentences, totaling 175 years.